Hey friends, and welcome to your Daily Detroit for Thursday, March 24th, 2022. I'm Jairus Days, and we're sharing what to know and where to go in Southeast Michigan. Today, our show is in two parts. First up, we're talking about small business in Detroit, shopping, and the upcoming All Things Detroit event in Eastern Market. Jennyfer Crawford will join me for that. Then, engineer Randy gets in front of the microphone to share his very Detroity pick for a cocktail to celebrate National Cocktail Day. That is today. And it's a drink that, in one form or another, is picking up steam across the country. Let's get started. Joining me is a longtime friend and someone I am glad to check in on, Jennyfer Crawford, who is the owner of Ask Jennyfer, creator of All Things Detroit, and otherwise entrepreneur extraordinaire. Welcome back to the show. It has been a while. Geez, this pandemic just bent time.
It has been a while, and I'm so glad to be back. And I have missed you. I haven't been able to chat with you. I know that you always have so many different things going on. I love to sit and listen to you, what you think about everything that's going on. So I'm glad to be back to chat with you.
There are a lot of topics to touch on. You've got events coming up. You've got activations happening. You're somebody who's kind of at the center of so much happening with small business related to Detroit and Michigan. So I guess I'll start with this it's probably been about 2 years since we've talked. How have things been going with your world?
Things have been going really, really great. I've been telling people, you know what, the pandemic for me has been a gift and a curse, I would say. And the reason that I say that is because, I had to kind of shut down my business. My business is events, but it also showed me that, you can't put all of your eggs in one basket. So I really had to pivot through this pandemic, and honestly, it has been going really, really well. I can't complain. I can't complain about the funds in the beginning of how things were going, just having shut down and being stalled. But, I sat on that couch for, maybe a few weeks, and I was like, you know what, Jennyfer, you have to figure this out, right? You have to figure this out. I could go back and get a job, or I could figure this out and, make it happen and continue to do what I love, which is super duper important to me.
Well, and how many years have you been at this now?
Well, actually, I will actually be celebrating 10 years in business this year.
Oh, wow. I thought it was nearing a decade.
In July, we will be celebrating 10 years in business.
What have you been noticing about the businesses that you work with? So if people are unfamiliar, you are kind of a hub in a multitude of ways, whether it's through your events, through fulfillment, different things. What are you sensing out there right now with the people that you're dealing with?
The people that I'm dealing with are dealing with the aftermath of the pandemic. When I say that, I mean, the cost of goods going up, the cost of food, the cost of everything going up. People feel like being in business today, after the pandemic is a blessing, which it is, but you have to deal with the effect that the pandemic has had on your business. Things are very, very expensive. You can't find staff. And so those are some of the main things that a lot of the small business owners are dealing with. A lot of them cannot find staff. It's me, myself included. It's hard to be, just a one person show. I felt like I was that for so many years. And even now, it's hard to find people that want to actually work and be consistent. And then with the pay, you have to pay a certain amount, which is fine. But as a small business owner, with the cost of staffing going up and the cost of goods and shipping is insane. I've been noticing that a lot of them are like, how am I going to be able to do this? I have to up my prices. And their concern is, are people going to pay those prices? But they have to go up to even stay in business, because you're in business to make money and not to break even, right? And so that is what I've been seeing with the business owners that I work with.
And those staffing challenges seem to be in almost every industry. And in part, this was the truth even before the pandemic started. We were already kind of on the edge of a labor shortage in Michigan as it was. And then you throw in all of this and all of the different side effects and whatever. Yeah, it just made that problem worse.
It made the problem worse, and it's a lot. I'm still grateful to be here, to still be doing what I love. And a lot of the businesses that I work with, they are too. But they're just trying to figure it out. Everyone is trying to figure it out, and they're just kind of taking it day by day, because things have just been changing rapidly, right? We were shut down, boom. And then people are thinking, I know me myself was thinking, oh, maybe it's not going to last. Oh, this is not going to last.
I remember those conversations.
And here we are, right? Here we are 2 years later, almost 3 years later. And, we're still dealing with all of these different issues. And so, it's hard to do. but we just have to figure it out. And there's a lot of different resources that have become available during this time. And so it's great to kind of connect with people in the city, and a lot of other different programs that you can have just so that you can get that right information. Also, get help and grants to kind of help you push things along in the business.
Are there a couple of things that you're noticing with the people you're working with, that the people who are making some headway, are there a couple of trends or things that they're doing that you can kind of pass on in a general sense to help people out?
Well, like with the staffing, working with students and getting interns, that's really been a trend, and that's something that's been helping with the staffing issue. I know that the Whiskey Factory and some other organizations have actually created like internship programs, and they're able to kind of help small businesses with the staffing aspect. Just creating a job description and submitting it to them, and they're actually getting people to actually work in these positions. So that right there has been a trend, and that's been really great. And it's helping with the staffing issue. With the shipping, we have a fulfillment center, and a lot of times if you don't have that staffing to help you with your shipping, we have been doing a lot of shipping for businesses as well. So those are just kind of like a couple of things.
Let's talk about some of the things that you've got going on. First off, you have a space coming together on Michigan Avenue in Corktown. Now, in this time where lots of people are saying, let's not do physical space, you're doing one. So why are you taking that step?
I am the crazy lady who is doing that. So during the pandemic, a lot of people don't know is, like 60 to 70% of my business was events. And so during the pandemic, of course, that's illegal. You can't be around anyone. So I'm thinking I am going to go out of business. So in 2017, I actually created an online marketplace. And I think, Jeremiah, that you were at the launch of that over at
I
the
do remember that. Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yes. And so All Things Marketplace was kind of a way for me to take what I did offline, online. And honestly, it's a website for small businesses and a marketplace. And it wasn't a huge hit. But during the pandemic, I was helping a few businesses ship their packages because there was literally nothing else I could do. And so I'm thinking to myself, this is a business, right? You're shipping packages, and it's kind of, in a sense, what Amazon does. But the only difference between me and Amazon, besides $1 billion, is that we are for a small business, by a small business. And so what I did is I had the website redeveloped into an online marketplace where we do all the shipping and fulfillment for small businesses. And the best way to do that, instead of doing it in my apartment or a single office, was to get a storefront. So we worked with the Build Institute to get a storefront and lease their space. They were gracious enough to let us be in the space, their pilot space, for over a year. And we kind of outgrew the space. So now we have our own location opening up 1620 Michigan Avenue, right on Michigan Avenue, right next to our guy, Dr. Paul.
Oh, yeah. Dr. Paul Thomas, friend of the show. Absolutely.
Yes. And so we're opening up coming soon. We're hoping that it will be the beginning of April or mid-April when we'll be opening up, but we'll be doing shipping and fulfillment. And then we have a space in the back where businesses will be, we have the storefront, the shipping and fulfillment. And then also you will be able to lease out the space in the back for small scale events. So it's a really great space, shooting content, and I'm excited about it.
So you do not have the $1 billion, but do you have a space rocket hidden around anywhere?
No, I do not have the $1 billion. And you know what? Honestly, I actually took a grant that I received and bought a delivery truck. So we offer delivery service as well.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
That's super cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that's something that people should really look into. The ways that you can work with other places to get things done. Let people do what they do best, especially in this time where just resources in general are strained.
Yes, the resources are really, really strained. A lot of people are using DoorDash. They're using, even for retail, DoorDash is starting to do retail. We don't do a ton of deliveries because I think people are just like, oh, they do delivery service. We just charge a flat rate. We're not at that point yet where we're just giving that option for every package where you get everything delivered. But you know what I always say, Jeremiah? I say, like, one day, right? It all starts here. All Things Detroit started in a 1-bedroom apartment, and now it's a national holiday. But we're starting with this one truck and this storefront, and the next thing you know, we'll be doing everything everywhere.
A mentor of mine who has done very well in her business career always said to step firmly and step with faith. And that's one thing I've seen you do, for sure, like faith in what you're doing.
Yeah, and I take a chance. I always bet on myself. I always tell people chances make champions. Make sure that you bet on yourself because you have to believe in you, right? And you have to believe in your ability to do things, but you have to definitely be consistent. And I think that being consistent is what has gotten me to where I am today.
So let's talk about an event that is coming up because people are getting together again for events, which is exciting. It's something that I know some people have some trepidation. Other people just can't wait. Other people are in between. But I, for one, am excited to see people and do things with people in whatever way that people feel comfortable. And All Things Detroit is back at Eastern Market. And that's just an amazing event if you haven't been before. So kind of what's on tap for this year?
Everything. so, and
You might say all things.
all the things. We're glad to be back. In January 2020, the Sunday before Easter officially became National All Things Detroit Day. So it is a day to support and celebrate small businesses in Detroit. And this will be our first time being able to celebrate this event, it being a national holiday at the Easter Market. And with that being said, we have Chase as our sponsor. This is my first time we had Chase as a sponsor in November, but Chase is my first official sponsor of All Things Detroit. In all of these years, of 8 years of doing All Things Detroit, Chase came on board and they are our official sponsor, and they have been so amazing. They're doing a lot of great work in the community, and I'm excited that they have been helping me push this event forward, expanding my reach. And so we have all these great things happening on event day, April 10th. We have a puppy adoption. We're also working with the show Startup, the PBS show where small businesses can actually come and pitch their business for a chance to be on national TV. And then also we've been working with Meyer. Meyer is planning to kind of come out in the beginning, some buyers from Meyer to come out in the beginning of the event, just to kind of walk around and take a peek at some of the businesses and see if there are some businesses that they want to have into their Rivertown markets, the artesian market. So lots of things. We have about 200 businesses. Of course, there's entertainment and food trucks. But the most important thing to me is people getting out, supporting, and shopping. These people who are doing what they love and trying to pay their bills. So we want people to come out and shop and just enjoy a great day of family fun.
I'll also mention that there are tickets to this event available. You've got kind of your regular access and then your early bird tickets. And I think it's fascinating that you do a ticketed event for a shopping event. But I also feel like it's part of what makes it work.
I feel like what makes it work. I feel like when you know that you're paying a small fee to come in and shop, then you know what you're looking for. You're going to shop. Sometimes I always say when you call something a show, some people come to watch and see, but when you promote shopping and in this event and it's a ticketed event, people know that they're coming to spend money. They know that they're coming to get that great piece and they're paying a small fee and it's worth it.
And I think this applies to a lot of different types of things that people might be doing. It's good to get people invested in what you're doing, and it helps make it like a stronger event because there's so many events that I've seen over the years that are free and they kind of come and they go, but it's hard to make them have the quality, if you will, the infrastructure so that you've got the variety of vendors, you've got the different opportunities, you've got the entertainment stuff. I think what it does is it helps takes it to the next level.
It does. And we want to take it even more to the next level. We're actually working with some of the businesses in the area to actually give discounts to some of our Beat the Crowd ticket holders, Eastern Market Brewing Company, the Whiskey Factory, Detroit City Distillery. We're working with all of those. And we're actually going to have a signature National All Things Detroit Day cocktail.
Oh, it is National Cocktail Day today, by the way. Did you know that?
Oh my God. I wish I had my National All Things Detroit Day cocktail with me because I would actually post about it and get people really excited. But I love doing this event. I love what I do. I love working with small business, and the fact that it's a national holiday, it really makes me really feel really good about it. People always say like, why a national holiday? And my father actually passed away right before COVID, the day after All Things Detroit in November 2019. And he would always say to me, baby, you do something so great. You work so hard. I wish that all the world could see the work that you put into what it is that you do. And so after he passed away, I would always think about that. And I would always say, how can the world see what it is that I do? And so I said, well, it should just be a national holiday, right? And so we're not done yet. All the world hasn't seen it yet, but they will see, and they will see.
So people know, where is it in Eastern Market?
It is going to be in the Eastern Market, Shed 3, 4, and 5.
That's a trifecta right there.
That is the trifecta, the 3 main spots of the Eastern Market. This is going to be so great. I'm so excited.
And if people want to pick up tickets, where can they go?
They can go to allthingsticketing.com, or they can visit askjennifer.com for tickets.
All right. Well, Jennyfer Crawford, wearer of many hats today, owner of Ask Jennifer, creator of All Things Detroit, and awesome Detroit entrepreneur. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate you. It's good to catch up.
It's good to catch up, and thank you so much for having me. I appreciate your support over the years, and it's just been great.
Engineer Randy Walker, how are you, sir?
Hey, Jer. Happy National Cocktail Day.
You have a very special Detroit historic cocktail to talk about. So let's get into it.
Yeah, this is actually one of my favorite drinks, and I thought the Detroit touch would make it a good topic for today's show.
Awesome. Well, what do we got?
The Last Word. This is a cocktail that is equal parts of gin, green chartreuse, maraschino liqueur, and lime juice.
Now, you're sure it's maraschino, not maraschino?
It is definitely maraschino. It's an Italian word. It's from Marasca cherries.
Okay.
Marasca cherries come from Croatia, which at one point was, actually part of Italy.
Interesting. Yeah, because those borders of Italy have changed quite a bit over the years. So let's get into the Detroit tie. Now, I've heard of this cocktail before. I know a little bit about the history and that it is tied to a long-time Detroit institution, but that's about where my knowledge ends.
Yeah, it was actually created at the Detroit Athletic Club, or at least that's where it became popularized. And it was sometime just shortly before Prohibition, actually, or looks like the first documented instance of this on the menu was in 1916, so just before Prohibition.
So is this generally still considered a Prohibition cocktail, though?
It is. It was, created before Prohibition, but it was definitely popular throughout the years there of Prohibition.
Now, it being created at the Detroit Athletic Club, did it have to wear suit pants or khaki pants? Were jeans not allowed on the Last Word?
It is definitely a more upscale, elegant drink, I would say.
Okay. So I've noticed it getting a little bit more extra popularity lately on podcasts and places with different variants. Now, let's talk about the OG first. What is that flavor profile?
Yeah, it actually faded out of popularity for a while. It was in a cocktail book called Bottoms Up by Ted Saucier in 1951, and then it kind of faded out again. And then it came back into vogue when Seattle Cafe Zigzag put it on their menu in the mid-2000s. So it is, like I said earlier, gin, green chartreuse, maraschino, and lime. And so with gin, you've got the juniper and a bunch of other botanicals. Sometimes you'll have some citrus zest, some orris root, some herbs and spices. Green chartreuse is herbal. It's a blend of secret herbs and spices again. And it's made by monks in France. And if you want to go into a deep dive on that, the drink that wouldn't die is an episode of the Proof podcast from America's Test Kitchen that talks all about green chartreuse. We have the maraschino liqueur, like I said, is from Marasca cherries in Croatia. And the most popular brand is Luxardo. But you can also find a couple of other brands if you're interested. And then the last ingredient is just lime juice. And a good secret for getting all of the juice out of your lime is kind of press it and roll it against your counter or your cutting board before you cut into it. Kind of break it open inside before you squeeze it to get all the juice out.
Those flavors make me think of a kind of like sharp flavor profile.
Yeah, there's not a lot of sweetness. You get a little sweetness from the chartreuse and the maraschino, but it is definitely more herbal. It's got some bitter flavors from the gin and the herbal liqueurs, but there is not a lot of sweetness or roundness to it, but it's still quite balanced.
So how would you serve this? Like, what would be the glass you would prefer?
So what I would do is I would just shake this with ice and strain it into your standard cocktail glass, a Nick and Nora glass, a coupe glass.
Okay. Now, a lot of variants I've heard about lately. So one, I heard about a California type variant where And this is only mentioned that because the show is produced in California, where I heard about this, where you swap out the gin for mezcal.
Yeah, that's one variant. There are quite a few variants, actually. A popular one is where you swap out the gin for Irish whiskey, and that's called the Dublin Minstrel, made famous by the Dublin Minstrel himself, Frank Fogarty, who was a early vaudeville performer who actually went to the Detroit Athletic Club in early 1916, where maybe he saw the drink there and kind of took it back to New York, where it became more popular and ended up in books.
Do you have a name for the mezcal version? Because mezcal is like a hot spirit right now. People are really interested in it.
Yeah, mezcal version usually goes by something like the Last of the Oaxacans, or sometimes you'll see that as listed as the Ultima Palabra, which is just the last word in Spanish.
Now, do you prefer any of the variations, or do you prefer the original?
Oh yeah, there are plenty of variations. I like swapping out the gin for Jamaican rum, and that makes it a wordsmith.
Of course you do. You love a good rum.
I do love rum. And then there's also the final award where you swap out the gin for rye and swap out the lime juice for lemon juice. Now, this drink is equal proportions of all four ingredients. So once you find what you like, you can start swapping out a lot more of the ingredients. One of the most popular variations would be probably, you might have heard of the Naked and Famous or the Paper Plane.
No, I have not actually.
The Naked and Famous is mezcal, Aperol, yellow chartreuse, and lime juice. Aperol is a bitter orange liqueur from Italy. Or a Paper Plane is bourbon, Aperol, Amaro Nonino, and lemon juice, again in equal parts.
Okay, so before I let you go, let's talk about the cost of this thing. When you go out, it's going to be something that it's not a $4 drink, to say the least.
Yeah, I would say a last word would generally be one of the more upscale menu items you would get, and so it would be priced accordingly. I would say somewhere around $12 to $16 for a last word. But you can buy the ingredients and make it yourself, and the cost comes out to under $4.50 per recipe, because green chartreuse, while it's expensive, $60 a bottle, you get 33 drinks out of a bottle.
There's a bottle of green chartreuse sitting here in the studio, and it is not 1/3 of the way gone. You know, it's something you use kind of sparingly.
Exactly. At 3/4 of an ounce per recipe of last word, $60 bottle will last you 33 drinks. The maraschino is $36. A good bottle of gin is $25 to $35. So use your favorite gin there. Liberator Gin here in Ferndale is a great gin.
That's the thing about having a home bar, is that you really want to stock yourself up with some of the basic building blocks. And you can use chartreuse for other things, right?
Chartreuse is great. We've named all of these drinks, but it's a nice herbal note. And even it's great to just sit by itself.
Really? All right. I'll have to try that sometime. I do like green drinks, and that I am a fan of absinthe. Now, it's a different thing than absinthe, but I will have to try it that way. I'll give it a shot. Engineer Randy Walker, thank you for making it sound so great, and thank you for adding a little bit of color and cocktails and fun to our national cocktail.
Cheers.
Before we say goodbye, if you love what we're doing, consider leaving a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. It's a great way to tell people about the show, and some of you have been ever so kind. Tomorrow, Devin O'Reilly joins me to talk about the stories around town. As always, don't forget we have a newsletter at dailydetroit.substack.com. We curate what to know and where to go around town for your inbox without fear or favor. But for now, I'm Jer Stays. You are somebody, and we'll see you around Detroit.